Okay, so with this video, I'm going to show you how I would approach doing week 2 assignment 1. And as you can see here, it's just about completing these 3 colour wheels. Now, the traditional colour wheel is different from the additive and the subtractive colour wheels, which are the same. So I think the most difficult one here is going to be the traditional colour wheel. But if you open up your textbook to page 46, you'll see that there is a guide for you, and this is a really great version of the traditional colour wheel right here. So I would have this open while you're working with the colour wheel in Illustrator or Photoshop. So note that the blue and red here are quite different to the pure blue and red that you get in Illustrator. So you see this red up here. I'll just click on it to make it bigger. It's much brighter than the red in the primary colours in the traditional colour wheel. And the same goes with the blue. The blue is altogether different from the pure blue that you get in, this is the pure blue up here that you get in the CMY, in the RGB additive or subtractive colour wheels. So don't be tempted to simply use pure hues in the traditional colour wheel. Okay, so I think I'll start with red on top of all of them just to make it more consistent. So I am actually going to start up here somewhere, and I'm just going to use my RGB palette here to find a red that I think best represents what we have over there. And it looks like, there's a bit of blue in it. So I'm moving each of the sliders here. And then I'll put, the blue one in place. And so as you can see, I just hazard it at a guess, and then I sort of play with it to find the right hue that I'm looking for. And so on. Okay, so I've put in the 3 primary colours here, and now in order to get a good orange, you might actually want to use your blend tool. If you like, you could try using the blend tool. So I would remove the outline there and see if you can find a, So what I'm doing is I'm just picking up the red and the black here, and I'm going to go Object, Blend, Blend Options, just to get one step in the middle. That's right, that's on 1. And this is the orange I'm coming up with, so I'm just going to use my colour picker to find that. Now, as you'll see, it's not going to get the stroke, and in fact I'd prefer it if you didn't use the stroke throughout, so we'll remove that completely later on. And you can use your blend tool to find intermediate colours as well. So once I've got that blend made up, all I need to do is switch the colours, and then I'll find, there we go. Now that I've got the orange there, this is the red that I'm getting here. So that's a slightly orangier red than the one that I have there. And then I can go ahead, and change that to yellow. And then I'll find my yellow-orange. And so you can go around like this. You might just want to remove the stroke value altogether, because that way you won't have to be too worried about that. So down here, opposite red, we know is green. So as you can see from this green over here, it's not, the wrong one. It's not a pure green in the RGB sense of the word. It's a different type of green, something more like this. So then I can just go like that to find my mid-green there. These outlines are a bit of a pain in the neck. Okay, then looking for a blue-green, And over here opposite yellow we'll have violet. So I might go ahead and just find that. So it's quite dark in the example that the textbook has. And it's easy enough to get the blue violet and the red violet just by using our blend tool. Okay, so that's looking like a pretty good color wheel. You might want to go back in and tweak it. So I feel inclined to make this red orange a little orangier. So I might actually move to my HSB scale now and just simply move the slider towards orange, but not too far, of course. But perhaps that's looking a little better to me. And this green looks like, yellow green looks like it's more green than yellow. So you want to see if you can make your tertiary hues some way between the two, like precisely halfway between the two, so it looks neither more of one than the other. So now this yellow-green doesn't look more yellow than it looks green, and so on. And I think the rest are looking pretty good. Now there is a circle here in the middle, but don't worry about any of those circles, that's fine. Okay. Now with the additive and subtractive color wheels, you're going to want to be using the pure hues. And I left those statistics for you in the class, in the announcement area. So back to the RGB color palette, and for red we're going to want to see 25500 and the same there. Because both of these are going to be the same, you may as well just do them both at the same time. We know that cyan is opposite the red, so I'm going to go ahead and put that in straight away. But then we have green and blue as our primary colours with red, so I'm going to put the blue in next, and obviously I'm doing things in a fairly topsy-turvy kind of way, which is pretty typical for me. Anyway, so green goes here. And then here we'll have yellow, because yellow, magenta and violet are our secondary hues. And here we'll have magenta. And now you have to work out the hues in between. And you'll definitely want to use the blend tool for that. So I'm just going to bring my little blend situation over here and change the colours around. So I'll make this red the pure red, and I'll make this violet the yellow. Oh. Sorry, I'll try that again. I'll make this red the pure red. There we go. And then I can just go ahead and pop those colours in. So now I want yellow to green, so I'm just going to change this red to green. And then we get the green that's in between. Oops, and then I want to change this yellow to cyan. And I'm sorry if this is confusing. You might want to play the video a couple of times to really understand what I'm doing here. But I'm just using the blend tool, which automatically changes every time I change the color. So I don't have to do a new blend each time. Okay, now don't worry about the center circles with this assignment. We'll just ignore those for now. And I'm going to deselect, take away the outline here just by clicking on that black frame there and clicking on the no stroke button. And I think that that looks much neater. Those black lines are just too, they separate the colors too much, I think. Now, one test you can do to make sure you've got the right hues with the color wheel is to make sure that the center colors go to gray. So if we've got red here, and if we put cyan here, we should get a good gray in the middle. Now let's just duplicate that little blend that I have there and do the same thing with another pair. Any pair is fine. So I'm going to go with the violet and the opposite green here. And yes, we're getting the same mid-gray there. So it doesn't matter which pair of colors that you use a blend for. So long as they're opposite, you should get a really nice gray in the middle. And that gray should be the same for all of the pairs in your scale. Anyway, I hope that was helpful, and I'm looking forward to seeing your work.